Welcome to EduCasts, home of EduCasters. If you read the history of psychology, you might get the impression that, for the first half of the 20th century, learning was just a matter of mechanics. You had the behaviorists, like B.F. Skinner and John Watson, who treated the mind like a black box. To them, we were all just complicated pigeons. If you wanted a student to learn math, you just needed enough pellets, gold stars, and shocks, detentions, to program the behavior. But every teacher knows that something is missing in that picture. We know that students aren't just reacting to direct rewards. They are watching. They are watching us. They are watching each other. And they are watching the world. Have you ever seen a child pick up a pretend phone and start babbling into it with the exact same tone of voice as their mother? The mother didn't give the child a cookie for doing that. The child didn't need to be conditioned to do it. They just saw it, processed it, and copied it. This is where Albert Bandura steps in. In the 1960s, he threw a wrench into the strict behaviorist machine. He argued that we are social creatures. We don't just learn by doing and getting a result. We learn by observing. This is social learning theory, SLT. Later evolving into social cognitive theory, it is the bridge between the old-school behaviorists and the modern cognitive scientists. It acknowledges that, yes, environment shapes us, but we also shape our environment, and we have a mind that processes all of this in real time. In this essay, we are going to unpack Bandura's work. We'll look at the famous Bobo doll, the 4 steps of learning, the concept of self-efficacy, the teacher's secret weapon, and how this theory explains everything from why group work succeeds or fails to why YouTube tutorials have taken over the world. The Bobo doll, the punch heard round the world. To understand Bandura, you have to go back to Stanford University in 1961. The prevailing wisdom was that watching violence might actually drain you of aggression, a concept called catharsis. Bandura didn't buy it. He set up an experiment that is now legendary. He took a Bobo doll, one of those inflatable clowns with a weighted bottom that pops back up when you punch it. He brought in preschoolers and divided them into groups. Group A watched an adult enter the room and absolutely beat the tar out of the Bobo doll. The adult punched it, kicked it, hit it with a mallet, and yelled things like "sock him in the nose." Group B watched an adult play quietly with Tinker Toys, ignoring the doll. Group C was the control group. They didn't see any model. Then Bandura frustrated the kids by showing them cool toys and telling them they couldn't play with them. Finally, he let them into a room with the Bobo doll. The results were explosive. The kids who watched the aggressive adult didn't just play roughly. They mimicked the exact moves they had seen. They used the mallet. They shouted the same phrases, pow. They even improvised new ways to attack the doll. The kids who saw the peaceful adult, they played peacefully. This shattered the Skinnerian idea that you need a direct reward to learn. These kids weren't given candy for punching the clown. They learned purely through observation. This was the light bulb moment for psychology. Learning can happen without a change in behavior. You can learn something just by watching, store it in your brain, and wait until the right moment to use it. The 4 pillars of observational learning. Bandura realized that monkey see, monkey do was too simple. We don't copy everything we see. If we did, we'd all be walking around acting like the last person we passed on the street. Bandura broke the process down into 4 distinct steps. If you are a teacher trying to model a skill, whether it's long division or how to apologize, you need all 4 of these to be firing. 1. Attention, the hook. You cannot learn if you are not paying attention. This sounds obvious, but it's the first hurdle in any classroom. If a teacher is droning on while facing the chalkboard, or if the class clown is making fart noises in the back, observational learning stops. Factors that increase attention. Status of the model. We pay more attention to people who seem cool, powerful, or competent. This is why the captain of the football team has more influence on school culture than the quiet kid in the back. Similarity. We pay attention to people who look like us or act like us. Distinctiveness. We notice things that are new or different. 2. Retention, the storage. The student has to remember what they saw. This is where behaviorism fails and cognitivism takes over. The student needs to create a mental map or a script. In the classroom, this is why we use mnemonics, why we have students take notes, and why repeat after me works. We are trying to help them encode the behavior into their long-term memory. If they watch you solve a math problem but can't recall the steps 10 minutes later, retention failed. 3. Reproduction. The tryout. This is the physical or mental ability to do the thing. You can watch LeBron James dunk a basketball all day long. You have the attention, he's amazing, and the retention. You know exactly how he moves his legs. But if you're 5'4", with a vertical leap of 6 inches, you cannot reproduce the behavior. In the classroom, this is where scaffolding comes in. You might model writing a 5-paragraph essay, but if the student doesn't know how to write a sentence, they can't reproduce the model. You have to ensure the foundational skills are there. 4. Motivation, the will. This is the big one. Just because you can do it doesn't mean you will do it. The kids in the Bobo doll experiment learned how to hit the doll, but later versions of the experiment showed that if they saw the adult get punished for hitting the doll, the kids wouldn't do it. They learned it, but they chose not to perform it. In the classroom, this is where rewards and punishments actually come back in, but in a different way, which we will discuss next. Skinner thought you had to get burned to learn the stove is hot. Bandura said, "No, I can just watch you get burned, and I'll learn the lesson just fine." This is vicarious reinforcement and vicarious punishment. This is the engine that runs classroom management. Imagine you are teaching a class. Little Johnny is talking while you are talking. You stop, look at Johnny, and say, "Johnny, please move your clip down for interrupting." The room goes silent. You didn't punish the other 24 kids. You only punished Johnny. But suddenly, everyone is sitting up straighter. Why? Because they experienced the punishment vicariously. They did the math. Johnny talked. Johnny got in trouble. If I talk, I will get in trouble. Conversely, this works for praise. I love how Sarah is sitting quietly with her book open. Suddenly, 5 other books slip open. They want the praise Sarah got. The danger zone. This can backfire spectacularly if you aren't careful. If the class clown acts out and the class laughs, that is vicarious reinforcement. The other students see that being disruptive gets you social status and laughs. Even if you, the teacher, yell at the clown, the peer reward might be stronger. The other kids learn, disrupting the teacher makes me a legend. The crown jewel, self-efficacy. Later in his career, Bandura moved beyond just observation and developed the concept of self-efficacy. If there is one concept from psychology that every teacher should tattoo on their arm, this is it. Self-efficacy is not self-esteem. Self-esteem. I am a good person. Feeling good about yourself. Self-efficacy. I can do this specific task. Confidence, incompetence. You can have high self-esteem. I'm awesome. But low self-efficacy in math. But I'm terrible at algebra. Bandura argued that self-efficacy is the strongest predictor of success. If a student believes they can learn, they will persevere when it gets hard. If they believe they can't, they will quit at the first sign of struggle, no matter how smart they actually are. How do we build self-efficacy? Bandura gave us 4 sources. 1. Mastery experiences, the win. The most powerful source. Past success builds confidence. If a student solves a hard problem, their efficacy goes up. Teacher tip, design early wins. Don't start with the hardest question. Start with something they can do to build momentum. 2. Vicarious experiences. Seeing is believing. Seeing someone else succeed. Teacher tip, this is why peer modeling is better than teacher modeling. If the teacher does it, the kid thinks, well, you have a degree in this. But if they see a fellow student struggle a bit and then succeed, they think, if she can do it, I can too. 3. Verbal persuasion, the pep talk. Someone you trust telling you that you can do it. Teacher tip, you got this. Works, but specific feedback is better. You really nailed the structure of that paragraph. I know you can fix the grammar. 4. Emotional states, the vibe, how you feel physically. If your palms are sweating and your heart is racing, you interpret that as I can't do this. Teacher tip, creating a low-stress environment where mistakes are seen as part of learning, not disasters.